Welcome to Kitty's Kitchen. Today we're going to make super easy pizza. So let's get started. What I have here, I'll just show you what I have for us to get prepared. I have a baking pan. It's about 6 by 9 for the amount that I'm going to bake, and I've lined it with parchment paper. You can also use a round pizza pan, but this is what I have and this is what I'm going to use because I'm going to make two types of pizza in the same pan because not everybody in our family likes the same thing. So I'm going to show you how I do that. So for this amount, this size of pan is what you want, whether it's round or rectangular. You can also do it on a cookie sheet on parchment paper. This recipe is fairly foolproof, so I just like the shape that I get and the result that I get from this pan. So when you start out, use something similar to this, and then you can experiment after that. So there's my pan. This is my measuring cup, which I'm going to mix in. I've got some garlic powder, some black pepper. I have a cup of shredded mozzarella, a cup of shredded Tex Mex blend. I have some parmesan cheese, 2 beaten eggs, some shredded ham, some sliced pepperoni, some chopped onion, and some dehydrated mushrooms that I made earlier. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. I've set my oven to 375 Fahrenheit. I have a cup of shredded Tex Mex blend, 1 cup. You can use 2 cups of shredded Tex Mex blend if you want. Like I said, whatever you have on hand. I prefer half mozzarella. I have another cup of shredded mozzarella. So I prefer half of the Tex Mex to half of the mozzarella. I just like that taste. I find if you have too much cheddar in it, it changes the flavor. It's more like a cheeseburger flavor, and that's another style of pizza. But for this one, we want to have maximum sort of, I guess, mushroom flavor, mushroom and pepperoni flavor. So this is what we're going to use. But like I said, you could use all of one or the other. It's kind of a foolproof recipe. Now in these two cheese, I've got the 2 cups of cheese now. I'm going to add about a teaspoon of black pepper because I like a little bit spicy. You could also use hot pepper flakes if you want. It just depends how spicy you like it. And I'm going to use about a teaspoon of garlic powder. Now that's all I'm going to use today. You can also use, if you like Italian seasoning would be really good. About a tablespoon of that, or if you have all your own spices, you could add maybe a good tablespoon of oregano. I'm not going to use it today. I'm going to do the simplest recipe that I can because we have allergies at our house. So things like oregano we're not sure about. So I think this is a good way to show you can have quick, simple, tasty meals without having a professional kitchen. If all you have is some pepper and some garlic powder, you can still have a good pizza. So what I have, getting back to what I was talking about, in here I have my 2 cups of cheese. I've put some pepper and some garlic powder in here. Just going to toss it lightly. To this I'm going to add 2 beaten eggs. And this is going to be your base. That's how simple this is. So we're going to stir this together, the 2 eggs and the 2 cups of cheese. It only takes a minute to come together. Okay. Can you see that okay? All right, so that's what it should look like. It should look like cheese with eggs. I'm also going to add about a half a cup of chopped ham. This happens to be thin sliced deli ham. Now you don't have to have this, so if you don't have any, don't worry about it. You can still make it. But one of the things that I've discovered, I'm going to put about 3/4 of a cup. And again, this is not exact. If you only have 2 slices left in your fridge, just put the 2 slices. That'll be good enough. What I've discovered in preparing this recipe is that if you put shredded deli ham, or if you had shredded deli turkey or something, You could also use that. It's the fact that the meat is shredded in this fashion. So what I did is I just rolled it up and I sliced it very thinly so that it looks like that. It holds the base together. I found that like there's quite a few keto pizza recipes out there, and a lot of them use cauliflower and things like that. Whereas I find that the cauliflower requires a lot of preparation. This doesn't require any preparation. All you need in the fridge is pizza fixins, cheese, and eggs. That's all you need. So that's how I actually developed this recipe. So we're just going to stir this together. You can also just use this as a base to make a kind of flatbread. It actually is pretty good. Anyways, getting back to the topic so I don't go off topic. Okay. So now I have my cheese, my eggs, and my shredded ham and my spices. So I'm going to put them in this pan. I'm just going to remove my fork. And with a spatula, I'm going to put it in the pan. Now it's important to use parchment paper. I find that parchment paper is my best friend. When you make things like pizza, which have a lot of cheese, if you use parchment paper, none of the cheese sticks to the pan or anything like that. So you get to eat all the yummy brown crunchy bits on the sides. So get some parchment paper. You can do a million things with it. And then no cleanup either. You don't have to scrub the pan or anything like that. You just okay. All right. All right. Oops. There we go. I don't want to leave any of this behind. So I've just flattened it out into an even layer. That's what it looks like. So because we like different things in our pizza, I'm going to make, on one side I'm going to make pepperoni. Now this is, I think it's about 1.5 cups of pepperoni, which is too much for this. But if you were to make it all pepperoni, as I said, this isn't exact. If you have lots of pepperoni and only a few mushrooms, put lots of pepperoni and only a few mushrooms. Also shrimp is nice. So what I'm going to do on this side is I'm going to put some pepperoni that I've chopped. Okay, just so that it looks about halfway there. How does that look? That look about right? And I guess that was about, I don't know, half through 3/4 cup. Or okay, maybe one more here in the corner just to make sure it's completely square. And then we're going to put about a teaspoon of finely chopped onion. Now, onions are a little bit high in carbs, but if you enjoy onion flavor, I found if you chop them very finely like this, a teaspoon of chopped onion, the flavor goes a long way. So I just chop them like this and I put them in a little jar in the fridge. Okay, so I'm just going to put a few on here. I'm actually going to use my hand, not the spoon, because the spoon will just give me a big clump somewhere. So, there we go. Or however much you like. I've just put that small amount because, as I said, you can get a lot of onion flavor just with a teaspoon of onion if you chop it finely like this. Now I'm just going to wipe my hands off. The next thing I'm going to put on my side, because I really like mushrooms. Mushroom pizza is my favorite. So these are mushrooms that I dehydrated earlier. I'll put the link, or I'll upload the video so that you can see what how I did this. I think once you learn how to do this, you'll do it all the time. Dehydrate the mushrooms because you get the maximum mushroom flavor and you don't have to cook them at the time that you're preparing your meal. Okay. So that's quite a lot. I like lots of mushrooms, but since these are dehydrated too, they're not going to let go any liquid and they're going to maintain basically this shape. Now you've noticed that I haven't put any sauce. I don't like sauce on my pizza. I never really have. I'm not crazy about it. But if you want it, go ahead and put it on before I put the toppings on. The only thing I would caution you about is putting lots of sauce, because then the sauce has moisture in it and the moisture will kind of seep into the pizza and you won't get the same texture. So what I actually prefer to do is, if you like sauce, cook it like this and have your sauce on the side. That also is a way for you to monitor how much sauce you're eating, especially if you're really watching your carbs. So that's why I haven't put any sauce. So on this side I have my mushrooms. This side I have the pepperoni and onion. Now for we're going to cover it now with our mozzarella. Now I'm not exactly sure how much mozzarella. I think probably about I'm going to start putting it on. So I'm thinking we'll start with a cup. And again, if you like lots of cheese, put lots of cheese. If you like it a bit thinner and kind of crispier on top, put less. So I'm just going to judge how much I've got here. I'm going to say about almost a cup, a little over a cup right now, maybe a cup and a half. And this seems redundant, but it's not. Because remember, the base has egg in it. So the base will cook up with a kind of spongy texture, and the top won't. The top will be like a pizza topping. So I'm just going to put a little bit more. And also, this isn't an exact recipe. If you put too much or too little, the world won't end. It'll still be fine. Okay, so maybe about a cup and a half. Okay, and here's another tip to achieve that pizza flavor. If you mix parmesan with your mozzarella, you get that little bit of bite of Italian food. It also makes your topping nice and brown, and not like sometimes if you just use plain mozzarella, it becomes sort of like a rubber sheet, whereas if you add the parmesan, it takes that away. So these are just parmesan petals that I had in the freezer, and I've just broken them up. What is this? This is about 3/4 of a cup. Again, if you like the taste of parmesan, use a bit more. If you don't, use a bit less, or if you don't like it at all. So I'm just going to sprinkle it like this over your mozzarella evenly. So that was probably about half a cup to 3/4 cup. I'm just going to use it all, because why put back just a tiny teaspoon of cheese? There we go. We all love cheese. So our bottom layer is our egg, shredded cheese, and a little bit of shredded deli ham. We have our toppings, or our fillings, and then we have mozzarella and Parmesan cheese on top as our pizza topping. Now we're going to put it in the oven for about 25 minutes. Keep an eye on it. Okay, we're back. It's been about 25-30 minutes. Now just keep an eye on it. I have an old oven, so it's hard to say how exact the temperature is in my oven, so just keep an eye on it. So 25-30 minutes. And you want your pizza to be this brown. I found that if you don't let it get this brown, it's not cooked enough on the bottom, but also you want the yummy crumbly mumblies on top here. Okay, so what I'm going to do, also when you take it out of the oven, give it 5 minutes to sort of set. If you take it out of the oven and cut it right away, you still can eat it, but it'll be molten. So let it sit for 5 minutes. And then, now what I'm going to do, sometimes there will be a little moisture on the bottom just because we've used eggs and other ingredients. So I'm just going to check it this way. I'll just show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put some paper towel here. And another good reason why you use parchment paper, here we go. So see, there is a little bit of moisture there. So I'm going to take this pan away, out of our way. Clank. And that out of our way. So that's just putting it on paper towel like that, that's enough to wick most of that moisture away. Now since I have two flavors, I've made it in two. what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut it in half and show you what it looks like. Okay, so that's about the middle. And everybody has their favorite knives and things like that. Okay. So which side is which? Let's have a look. Okay, this is the mushroom side. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to cut these in wedges. I'm going to cut them in our way. I'm going to cut them in slices. So I can show you what they look like. Also, this pizza freezes really well. So if you wanted to make a few of them and put them just in Ziploc bags and freeze them, to reheat them, all you have to do, oops, timer. See, keep an eye on it. My timer was set for too long. All you have to do is put some more parchment paper on a pan and put them in the oven again at about 350, 375 for 15-20 minutes. That's all you have to do and the pizza's ready. I don't know if you can see that. So this is the pepperoni one. Okay, and let's get the, actually I'm going to cut the mushroom one in half again just so we can see it better. And that's the mushroom one. Can you see that? So there we go. There's the mushroom side and there's the pepperoni side. I hope you enjoy this recipe. It's simple, quick, and easy with ingredients that you have on hand. Thanks for watching.